Did anyone see themselves in the video? I think a few of us were in the video. I saw myself on stage for about a fifth of a, maybe a tenth of a second in there.
I wasn't there last year. I hope to be there this year, but I'm still trying to figure out what 40-minute or 80-minute talk I want to commit to.
How to rep out your hair with Flutter?
This just it sticks up. I have no idea why it does that. It's just
right. Okay.
I sleep on it once and it goes nuts. It's the biggest problem is I should just like have come from out of the shower this morning and then it'll just be flat and wet. Then you wouldn't have this problem, but it doesn't matter. Hi, Simon. Good to see you again.
Welcome again. We've had we had a nice live coding session on Sunday with Norbert. Vibe coding our way to a card game all about programming and apps and stuff and developing apps, which is quite fun. Right, let's just get on with the show. Let's do the do's and don'ts.
Sure. Okay. Why not? We can do this. So again, very important. Be nice. Be respectful. Be constructive. So support your fellow searchers in the channels. Don't post anything if it's adult or rude or offensive. Do not advertise or promote anything. First off, links are going to get ripped right out of the chat. We won't even see that. But again, the only people who should be promoting things are people with their face on the screen. So if your face is not on the screen, you do not get to promote things. We do because we help put the show on. Don't spam. Don't post the same thing again and again and again. We do have ban hammers. I do have delete powers, so they will go away. Don't taunt me. Don't make me do that. The other thing that's important about not posting twice the same message is that if you ask a question and then later ask exactly the same question, I count the second question, not the first one. So I'll get rid of you out of the queue. You lose your place. So don't do that. Harassment of any kind, again, not tolerated. We do have ban hammers. We do kick people out of the show. That is so rare. Thank goodness. You guys have all been wonderful all these years. But we do have the powers, but do have a good time. We have a good time doing this show because we love sharing what we know, and we like making sure that Dart and Flutter are useful for y'all, and are willing to spend our spare hours talking about that stuff. So there's that.
My name is Simon Lightfoot, Flutter community leader. We do not work for Google. I work as CTO at Dev Angels London. And you can follow me on Twitter at Dev Angels London and other various social medias. Scott's not with us today, but we have a Randall. Randall.
Yes, hi, I'm Randall Schwartz. I am a Dart and Flutter Google developer expert, one of 10 in the United States and about 150 in the country. What that means is I get to spend all my spare time going on the various socials like Discord and Reddit and Stack Overflow and the Slacks to try to answer questions as often as I can. That not only allows me to share my knowledge with y'all so that everybody, all the rising tide lifts all boats equally, but also it hones my skills so that as I'm learning to share it, I'm also learning to do it better so that my commercial clients, which I also have, are able to take advantage of that knowledge that I am sharing with everybody. For this show, though, in particular, I am the question magician, which means I am watching the YouTube chat that we have going on. I am flagging anything that starts with Q : as a question for us on the panel, and we will get to those in the order asked, pretty much, occasionally out of order, but not too much.
If you do want to post, I will say, if you do want to post code, you can go to gist.new in your browser. That will take you to GitHub's gist page, where you can post code, name the file something.dart, and then you take when you hit new gist or whatever, in the new URL you'll get a little hash. It's a long hexadecimal number, just like a SHA hash from Git. Copy that into the chat, and we can look at that gist on the stream, and we can do like code review or help you fix a bug or whatever it might be. It does help. I think people really like seeing that kind of interaction between code. Don't be scared. We won't be too critical. Just joke. Danielle, welcome to the stage.
Hi, everybody. Last week was spring break for the kiddos, so it was kind of fun doing that, but I'm glad to be back here. I'm Danielle Cox. I am the Flutter Tech lead for a company called Ardley. So I always like to shout out and say thank you, Ardley, for letting me come do this. Even though I only get an hour, it's still nice to be able to do that. And I'm also one of the organizers of the Flutteristas, which we just had a very successful conference, I think. And if you haven't seen that, check it out on this YouTube channel, Aaron. So.
And where can people find more about Flutteristas?
Well, they go to flutteristas.org. And yeah, no, we're an international organization of women and non-binary people who have a shared passion for Flutter.
And we also have a John with us. John.
Yeah, hey, how's it going? Been a few,
Welcome to the
few
stage
weeks.
with your big fat F behind you.
Behind my head there. Yeah.
Nice.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, been a few weeks with shipping a small little product and planning meetings and spring break as well on our side for one of mine. So yeah, it's good to be back. But yeah, so what do? I manage the Flutter Medium. I do a Flutter Community Medium. Hang out with Randall in a bunch of different places, answering questions when I have time, which hasn't been a whole lot lately, but a little bit as I can due to the day job. But yeah, happy to be here.
We miss you, John, and you're gone. It's just not the same.
I miss being here.
Yeah. Well, I mean, also on Discord and stuff too. I mean, your presence is, your absence is noted. Yes.
Yeah, I've been trying to get out there a little bit more as I've had a little bit more time now that we shipped. So.
But one of the fun things is, John and I don't really live anywhere near each other, but his kids and then my niece's kids cross paths in Orlando every year with volleyball.
Wow.
So.
Yeah, and I think they're still using my app, right? Hopefully.
I think they are. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
One of my side projects. Yeah.
Cool. Cool. Wow. So we don't have any questions. Oh, we do. We have something starred.
We have questions already. All right.
Somebody did some starring before I got there.
What else have we been up to? I know Simon's been busy with. He's got like 18 different streams he does every day or something.
Oh wait, these are left over from a previous show.
Actually, talking about that, after this show, I am doing Dark Conversations. So you guys can all come along to that. I will post a link to that at the end of the show, so you can switch over from this place to the next one if you like to.
Simon, what is Dark Conversations?
It's a place we're going to have dark conversations. It's just
like soft tip or steel tip.
Oh, you're so funny. And let's see if I can find the meetup page. It's run by GDG Spain. It's just a place to have a chat about dark stuff. There you go.
I was on the show last year, and I think it was mostly me answering people's questions, but I don't have more specifics than that. I should have gone back and watched my previous appearance there.
I'm trying to find a link. I always sent a link, and now I've lost it.
So is it a monthly, a weekly,
yearly?
Kind of yearly.
It's an annual.
No. It's that's a good question. When was the last one? 8 days ago.
What?
No, that's not Dark Conversations.
No.
2 months ago. There you go.
Okay. It feels like a year ago. It feels like a year ago. All right. So we'll have a chit chat there about, I don't know, Dart and Flutter. Group of people.
Yes.
Playing darts in pubs. Yes.
I think there's I was thinking that we could, depending on the chats that come in, we could actually do some live coding. Maybe we could catch up with some async stuff, or I don't know, something that's just a bit different. And then let the questions kind of flow in, unless anyone's got any topics to chat about, which it's a bit quiet this week.
Yeah, not a whole lot. Was there any news? I mean, what other than they renamed IDX?
Well, we had some stuff from Cloud Next that's been sort of being promoted at the moment, and just I'd say the big key thing right now is to say you should be subscribed to this very channel, because there'll be a lot of content being delivered over the next 6 weeks on this channel. So be subscribed and you'll get notified. See,
A lot
I
of
did
a
mention
lot of
that.
things. A lot of times we'll say the word Gemini and AI and
Yeah,
VO and all
it's a
those
bit of the
things.
rage. AI.
Yes, it is. I've
All
been
the
playing heavily
hotness
with
right
it.
now.
Yeah, probably the most
All the young
significant.
kids are playing with this AI lark. I don't know what it's all about, but we'll learn.
I'm learning every day. Yeah.
Still
New-
waiting
I,
for
new stuff.
natural
So,
intelligence.
do you want to take a minute or two, Simon, and tell us about that project that was happening on Sunday with the cards and
you arrived a bit late. We did already chat a bit about that, I think. But Norbert is putting together um, a card game in Flutter and Dart, and it's all about software development. So like you can like lay down play feature cards. People can play bug cards. It actually sounds like it could be a really good card game to play.
It sounded
Really
very
quite
interesting. That you
Yeah.
left out the key part, though, that the entire game is being built by AI. He's not actually writing any code.
Well, I mean,
Right.
he's directing it, right? Like it's not
Yes.
he's not saying AI build me this.
Right.
It's vibe coding. So the idea being he's done a design document and he uses that as input to the AI. So and then he'll direct the decisions the AI is making. But essentially, every line of code in the entire project is written by AI. Like if there's a comma that needs changing, he's going to ask the AI to do it. It sounds that you don't really have to go that far normally, but the point here is that the idea is to completely code it with AI. Can you do that? It's an interesting proposition, right? Like especially with what AI is doing right now. So he's been using was it Gemini Flash 2.5? No, Gemini Pro 2.5. I think it was.
Yeah, 2.5. Yeah.
And some Sonnet as well in there. Sonnet called Sonnet 7, I think. But yeah, there's it's really interesting, and it's there's a new upcoming stream this Sunday. You'll find it in the live section of this very channel where you can subscribe and get notified and join us on the next session.
I read a disturbing piece of data that is probably true, but it's a little scary that every just generated image, if you go to Grok or Gemini or something and say, give me an image of something, uses up for cooling at the central facilities about 3 liters of water.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Every single image takes that much computation.
That's very much an exaggeration. Like I know how much they take to make those images, but they don't take that long, and I can't see you getting that much flow through like a GPU. But I don't know what I'm talking about. Like it just seems very unrealistic. Like it's a bit overstated. But who knows? Like the thing is, water is recyclable, right? Like especially when in terms of cooling, right? Like it's not like it's used and disposed of. However, this is one of those things, right, where data centers are all around the world. We're essentially offsetting a lot of stuff to the cloud. The cloud is not this magical thing that doesn't exist. No, it's massive data centers that require huge amounts of cooling and power and massive power delivery. And there's places like in Iceland, which is really cool, data centers in Iceland, where they get the volcanic, they use the volcanic heat from underneath to actually do geothermal electricity conversion to power these things. And then they use the coldness of the atmosphere outside to cool the places. It's like it's like the most eco-friendly ways of running data centers.
Well, except it then makes the outside air warmer a little bit, which messes everything else up. So
I think
doesn't.
I think it's a bit more complicated than that. However,
you're still cooking off the flow somehow. You're still harnessing the flow.
It's the most eco-friendly that we've made them so far. I mean, when you go looking at some of the other ones around the world, you're like, yeah, these. It's funny actually when you actually find out where they are, and you're like, oh, I didn't know that was it's like from the outside they just look like innocuous buildings. It's not until you go there's a man trap in the front door, which you have to like one of those rotating door things where you get locked inside if you don't pass the security checks and all sorts of other weird, funky iris checks and all the rest of it, right? Like,
I've been intrigued recently by the ideas that there might have been an entire level of advanced civilization that lived on Earth and got wiped out by some big cataclysm of some kind. But I'm thinking what happened is they switched everything to AI and then they ran out of fossil fuels. So they were stuck. And then the whole society collapsed because they couldn't run their freaking AI anymore. So I'm wondering if we're going to get there. I mean, is this going to be a Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome world, or is it going to be a Skynet Terminator world? I have
Sounds
no
like
idea.
You got a plot for a good movie. You should go pitch that to somebody, Randall.
I could have Jim and I write the whole story for me, and
there you go.
Short amount of time. Yeah,
a whole script ready to go.
And it might have some angle there that I never saw, and I went, "Oh my god, yeah, this is possible."
Yeah, I was about to say, it sounds like you should actually get ChatGPT to do it because it's already figured out how to take over the world.
I'm pretty sure Jim and I already work circles around ChatGPT.
They're all working together.
Not to admit it.
I'm pushing for the home team, man. Jim and I for everything.
I was gonna say maybe Jim and I are smart enough not to admit that.
No, I gotta say some pretty cool things. I've gotten to say some pretty cool things. So. Yes. Yeah, I know. It's crazy.
I mean, you talk about it, but nuclear is actually a really good, efficient form of electrical energy generation.
Yeah,
definitely better than coal and fossil fuels. Anyway, we're not here to talk about this. We're here to talk about Flutter and Dart.
Well, we're here to talk about whatever people want to talk about, and so far nobody's wanting to talk about anything. So this is.
We know it'll be a nice
crazy.
short show, and we can take some time off. Yeah. I'm okay with that.
Yes, I could do some live coding.
We do some live coding. Do we
have any you said those two that we have started? Are those from last week?
I don't see any starts. So
I see 2 started.
I see 2 started. Yeah, so do I.
Well, load them
That's
up.
from last week, though. Somehow
are they? Yeah, it was about the future method. Has any other future calls? Cancel future method.
Yeah, so that is actually
future calls. That was last week, and then
bring it up on screen because actually the one I was going to answer. So
okay,
I think that's a really interesting one to talk about. So we should we do some of this?
Yeah,
do some of this. We'll turn off that. There you go. So one of the things that came up is one of those things that actually is quite often asked about, which is how do you counsel a future, right? It's one of those confusing things as a beginner with Dart and Flutter that you come across, and it's really confusing. So there is a if I can find it.
Cancelable operation.
Yep, indeed. So there's a package called async, which is a Dart first package, right? Dart.dev, and they contain this thing called a cancelable operation, right? Class that defines an operation that can be cancelled by its consumer. The producer can then listen to this cancellation event and stop producing in the future once it's received. It can be created using a cancelable completer, right? So if you listen to what they're saying, what it's saying here is that it still is not what you would think, right? So the point here is, let's make an example, shall we, today, and then Humpday 2025. What are we for? 16.
Yep.
So is that big enough for everyone, or should I make it bigger?
No, it's fine.
Yeah, you think it's fine? Okay. Get rid of that. So let's make an async main. And then inside our async main, we're just going to do an await, right? So we'll say future.delayed duration.
There should be a shortcut for creating a delayed feature like that, because I just keep typing that over and over again.
Yeah, there is actually some actual shortcuts, but I forget what they are. There is actually some extension kind of things where you can do, like, I think it was one on darts with a Dart X or Dart Z packages where they add extensions to everything, and I think they've done some.
Yeah, like just future.ms300 would be really cool. I'm sure it can be done.
Yeah.
With the right extension.
Right. Nice simple thing. Run it. And let's increase that delay to 3000. Run it again.
I know. I can make a screencast about that.
There you go.
2, 3. Boom. Okay. That worked. Nice and simple, right? Okay, so let's say we want to do something where we're going to create a future. Let's do a future, and we'll call it task. Right? We're going to try and keep this as simple as possible, and task. So a good example. So basically, I want to start something and I want to be able to cancel it, right? So we're going to have some asynchronous thing going on and we want to be able to cancel it. So great, this is a delay. This is showing you how future works. But actually, what we want to do is do this. But how we need to somehow be able to cancel this task from running, right? So a good example of this is, let's say you have something running in the background and you want to interrupt it, right? So a simple equation for this. Yeah, we're not, obviously this is not how you write it, right? This is just an example, right? But just want to show you here. So you can do something like while not quit. Oh, we're not going to type that again now. Let's do 1000. And then we'll say print.
Side effects and a debug method. Lovely.
Right.
Exciting.
So,
exciting.
I want to get this in. I wonder if I can. No. Apparently
By the way, if you have a question, go ahead and put it in the chat with QCon in front of it. And that way we can leave this phase and move on to the next phase of this show.
Yeah, please do.
Yes, I'm encouraging that. I'm trying
it. Feel free to ask questions and.
Yep.
I'm going to try something different here today.
Or just make facial gestures, but we won't see those. We don't care.
Yeah, we're going to pop that there. Is that better for everyone? I don't know.
You'll see it if I make facial expressions, Randall.
Yeah, it's true.
Right. So we've got this code, and we're going to delay run it. Right. So anyway, let's run this, and period 0, 1, 2. And let's say I want to interrupt this. I press Control C. Nothing's happening. I can't interrupt it. Right. So the thing is, even if this code, if we don't await task, right, and do this, what's really interesting is another interesting thing will happen is you get done, but the main function's finished. But because there's a future still running, the app is still running, right? So whilst all future's not satisfied, there's something for the main loop to run. It will run. It will continue to operate. So what we want to do is be able to flag that this has been finished. So in this sense, you could say, if we do another delay down here, and we put this at, say 3,400, and we say quit equals true, right? And that sounds obvious, right? But then what's going to happen is, there you go, right? So it got through the first 3 iterations. It was waiting for the next one, and then it looped around, saw that quit was set to true, and exited out, right?
Yeah. That
is literally how cancelable operation works, right? In that sense, right? What it does, it wraps this up in a nice wrapper, basically, right? So, and this is actually what you want. So a lot of people, like you do, let's say this task is writing something to the disk, or it's producing some code, or it's doing something. You can't just go shutting it down halfway. Like, it's got files that are open, it's doing stuff. So what you actually want to do is ask it when you're ready, once you've done this iteration of the cycle, whatever you're doing, now it's time to go away, right? So what we're going to do is show you how you use that with the async package, and then show you how you actually wrap it up yourself. So we'll chuck the async package in. And then in here, in this lovely example, we're just going to import package async. And what we essentially want to do is create a, where is it? Was it called a cancelable completer, wasn't it, or something like that?
Yep.
Yeah. So there's a couple of different ways of doing this. So let's get that out of the way for a second. Right. Okay. So on cancel core function, if you want to, that can complete with a future. My guess is that future's result will be returned in place of the one that you're canceling. Kind of a common thing. Yes, you can complete this. This doesn't really give me what I want. Complete operation. Okay, so cancelable. So you do a cancelable operation from a future, and that's creating a cancelable completer, and then you get the operation coming back. So when the operation is canceled, uncancelable, we call any value later produced, cancel, and then completing it with result. Sounds like what I want. So let's try this, and maybe we can try a cancelable completer as well. But I think the idea here is that you create your task, and then you can then say like complete your completer, right? It's kind of like the idea. I think the point here is with the cancelable completer is that if that was cancelled, then the cancel result is sent back in place of the actual result, right? So we'll do a cancelable from future, give it task. I think that this is where the problem comes in, right? Hang on, let's just. I think we're gonna have to wrap this, but give me a second. I need to check the cancelable state. I swear there was like a different way of dealing with this, but I forget. Yeah, so you can get the value or cancellation is cancelled. Okay, so it is just a cancel. I'm getting very confused. Bear with me. A lovely protocol that's so simple, anyone can understand it. So basically, we really want to care about this is cancelled. So what I don't know is, can we get the operation? So we could wrap this up, right? So if okay, so let's do this. Before we jump into that, I know what we can do to make things simple here, right? I'm going to do task, and I'll show you what we can do. So if we would do it ourselves, we could have, cancelable task. Sure, let's do that, right? And then essentially this is going in here. This becomes, this can become callable. And isn't it, there's not an interface to inherit for callable, so you can like clearly define it's callable, right? It should be, right? If you have like callable or something, that'd be really helpful.
Anyway.
Yeah.
I don't call one of those.
And then you can say something like bool. Yeah, sorry. Sorry, bear with. It's That's what I want. And you're going to do everyone sing comfortably. Right. So we'll do something like this. You almost want to wrap it a bit here. It's probably better we do that, actually. Let's do this. Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting. There isn't an interface for callable. Just has to implement the call method in it. Then it.
Yeah. I want a holder for a Boolean value. You don't really have an async Boolean, right? Basically, what I want to have like cancel. Hang on, cancel flag. Hang on, all cancel equals false. This is a bit nuts, but I'll show you what I'm thinking here.
Yeah, it's a little weird already. Yes. Something with the property of only a single bool. That entire class can fit in a bit.
Flag dot cancel equals false. Flag dot cancel. Right. And we can actually get rid of these now. And can I do that? No, I can't do that. Keep it. Damn it. Not going to do what I wanted to do. This is a bit stupid. Let me flip things around a bit here.
If we look at the source for the timer class, we'll figure out how to do it.
Has what functionality? The cancel functionality. Yeah, it does. Yeah, you're right.
I threw some sample code in the chat too.
Did you get that sample code from Copilot?
I did, actually. Pointing it at the docs, bracing with a simple little.
Yeah. All right, remember that.
Implement this.
It is crazy how much scary smarter this stuff is getting month after month. I've been blown away by my use of 2.5 Pro Gemini.
It's scary when you're on this side of it.
Yeah,
the everything that we're adding.
Yes,
isn't out yet.
Oh, yes.
All right, and then we want to be able to reach. Done. So done.
Get done. Right. Get up again.
Right, where was I? Flag. Flag cancel. Complete and come out here, and then. Yeah, we'll do that for just for a minute. I know it's not like perfect, but so just a little example of this. Is that everyone in everyone's screen? Yeah, so that did mean that you've got a cancelable flag. We don't actually need that. I'm saying that now. I was only doing it because if we want to have multiple execution and re-entrants, but we're just going to skip on that bit right now and just don't add the extra complexity actually. So, in fact, yeah, it means we don't need to do the set and go, and we'll just have it like we had it. Yeah. So that's like a little wrapper, and it would mean that you can now create a cancelable task. Obviously, this, well, we'll extend it in a second, right? So here, there's a final task equals cancelable task. Now the key here is that we want to we'll do a time delay, and then we'll do it based on some input in a second, right? So hopefully now, if we bring our debug back in, we should get the same result we had earlier, right? Which is not happening because I am an idiot, apparently. Oh yeah. So my thought was to run it like a task or something, but
in call, doesn't oh, never mind, because you're doing as part of the completer. I see.
Callable. I'm making it callable, right? By adding the call function.
Yeah.
So if anyone that doesn't know, there's a hidden function called call on every class, which if you treat it like a function, a class like a function, it's called a callable class, and it turns it into a class that you can call. And the parameters that you specify here, like int value, you'll see now it's complaining that I did not specify the int here, so I can specify the int, right? Anyway, so it's working as expected. This is not really the best sort of appropriation of this. So what we're going to do now is we'll start the task and we'll do process signal, sig interrupt, watch, and then bursts. This will do. So now,
well, that's reminding me of my C days.
Yeah. So we'll say count is less than 5, right? Get rid of that. Okay, so if I run this now, what's going to happen is it will run for 5 iterations, right? And then it will finish. So that's interesting, and that's the reason because the signal's still listening to. We didn't cancel the. Yeah, let's not worry about that for a second, right? Anyway, that would finish the app, right? So the key here is if I now press Control C, he says it doesn't work.
Huh.
Isn't that lovely, everyone?
Yes.
Sig. I suppose sig up. It's probably a Windows thing, or
Hang up. That's not gonna do it.
I know what it probably is. It's because it's coming. Maybe it's coming because it's coming through the terminal in here, the debug terminal.
Yeah.
Mm.
I'm pretty sure SIGINT is what you want if you want to Control C.
Yeah, I thought it was.
Theory.
I mean, the other one is.
Do you need to put focus? Do you need to put focus in the debug window when you hit Control C?
I thought I did. Let's try it.
It might not be a full enough terminal window either.
That's what I'm saying. I don't think
That's true.
is, right?
Yeah.
This view is redone. So let's do this. Let's spin up a terminal here.
Copy to Dart pad.
We finally got a question.
Copy to Dart pad.
Yeah.
Well, I don't think Dart pad will even out.
I don't know if it'll do any better. Yeah.
Dart lib. What's today's date? 4th.
There you go.
Right. They are running there. Control C. Yay. Camera is apparently a back shot, but yeah. So I received the interrupt and then it exited, right? So
Cool.
Yay for that. So when it comes to this kind of stuff, it is just you need to keep checking the flag if you're doing processing, and that way you can exit nicely, right? We could wrap this up. Go on.
I was going to say the question actually, I think was talking more like if you had a list of futures also, and you want to cancel that future, because it said a future that was awaiting other futures. So this is iterated.
I mean, it's the same thing. That's the point, right? You can have multiple futures all paying attention to one flag, right?
Yep.
Now, what you can also do is when this receives a if you say if cancel here, throw. What's it called? Cancel exception or something like that. I can't remember what it was now.
Probably be error cancel or exception cancel.
It was one. I can't remember where I saw it, if it's built in or not, but you can always just make one, right?
Mhm.
Damn. I swear there was one. Anyway, but you could always just throw an exception, right? And that would trickle up your the list of futures, so they're all complete with the error going back up, and then you can listen to see if it's been cancelled, right? So,
cool.
And then if you want something like a cancel exception, you're saying pass and implements. Sorry. Yeah, that would be the probe way of doing that. Yeah. So, all right. Well, what have we got in the queue? Should we start getting through some stuff?
We did get one.
We got one.
Is there an example you wanted me to load up there, John? Should I load up what you?
Oh, I mean, you can. It's using the async. Basically,
Well, it would be if it wasn't one massive line that had comments.
Well, it's because you didn't format it.
No, but it had comments in it. So it's
Oh, yeah, that way.
right. Let's hold up. Too many brackets.
Just blame Copilot for not counting brackets.
Yeah. More comments. Void main, sure. Yeah. So this is what we were talking about earlier, right? So which is create future from your long running operation. On the cancel event, you can do something. Then after 2 seconds, cancel the operation. And then you're essentially waiting for the value. And then this will complete with the value of the cancel instead of the value of the operation completed.
Yep.
So although this says return this string, right? What you actually want to do is say return.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the AI got a bit wrong, but
They got it a little wrong, but
it was close enough. Yeah. So in this situation, I wonder what happens if we run it with everything else. Dun, dun, dun. What went wrong? That's interesting, isn't it? It's waiting for this, but our 2 second timeout didn't cancel it.
Well, yeah, did it?
Question mark.
Did we even get there? Yeah, finished.
That's
weird.
Yeah, I mean we got past done, right? So it would have created the operation.
Yeah.
It would have run long running
done the delay and cancel.
That would have been asynchronous. Cancels fine. It then delays for 2 seconds, cancels it. So the expectation here is at the very end, you would have got operation was cancelled with result.
Yeah.
Operation cancelled, or it throws an error which is cancelled. But either way, you would have seen one of these.
Mm-hmm.
Dun dun dun. Let's do this. Let's do this. Run. I don't think the code works.
Well, yeah, what's missing?
I think it lied to us. Interesting enough, it did delay and then it did complete.
And then
but you didn't get a print statement from either one. So
that's strange.
Out print done. Let's see what happens. And then I think we'll change that delay to 1 second this time.
Is the problem the fact that we're canceling it before we await it in the first place?
It's awaited here, right, by its value.
Yeah.
Right.
So this waits for the value of the long running operation to complete. The inner completer. Value or this feature will not complete if the operation is cancelled. I think we figured it out.
Yeah.
Oh, 2 questions now. Ooh.
Hey,
there we go. Hey.
So that's interesting. A complete result null because value or cancellation returned this cancellation value instead. So really, this is that, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is kind of an interesting way of doing it, I guess. So the AI was wrong.
Yep.
Anyway,
Didn't read the docs completely.
Nice. Can't get the staff nowadays.
I know. On that
That's
note,
my problem every morning is not enough context.
I'm going to have to jump before we start anything new.
I can relate.
All right, I'll pop this little example in the thing for later. Right, well, so we got some questions coming on, some quests.
Yeah. Here, this one's fun. I like. How can we listen to the primary scroll controller for an offstage widget? There's a gist.
All right, let's gist us up.
Yep.
All right, and I'm going to jump. I'm going to go get ready for my next meeting that I got to jump in.
Thanks, John.
Well, thank you for joining us, John.
Yep. Maybe we'll see you again next week. Yep.
I hope to see you again. Yes.
Yeah.
We'll be here.
Happy to see you.
So
I've got another 5 minutes or so.
Okay, cool. We haven't got any web questions yet.
Yeah.
It's not unusual.
The interesting thing about all of this, though, is if you're running an expensive operation and you haven't baked in the ability to cancel at some point, it's going to run the operation no matter what, whether you're there for the result or not.
Yeah, this is literally how Dart works, right? So like it's going to continue no matter what. And that I think is one of the things that people misunderstand, right? So, for example, HTTP requests are ongoing of futures, and what they do is you close the client, and they're all going to cancel themselves, right? They're all going to get closed, which is the same effect running, right? That the socket connection was closed, therefore they cannot complete their transaction, therefore they get torn down, right? Right. What do we have here? What do we have?
It's funny after you said that, Randall, we do have a web question, but I don't know the answer. So
yeah. Well, it's not unlikely that my lamenting that there wasn't a web question actually triggered that.
Yeah. I wish I knew the answer. I've not had to bother with it yet, just because our project's so lightweight as far as what it's actually doing.
Yeah.
So anyway.
How to listen to primary scroll inside another widgets where it can be off stage. Error control was used after being disposed. Okay, let's have a look. So in this case, late final controller, primary scroll control of context. Okay. Yeah, no, I can see that. Yeah. So for those that don't know, every route, at least page routes wise, I remember, implements a primary scroll controller widget, and that gets given the controller from the route, if I remember rightly. It's been a while. And then what will happen is a list view will inherit that controller. So the idea being that every screen is scrollable, or can be scrollable, should I say. It's one of those like little known things that kind of gets in the way a bit more than it actually helps, I think, in a lot of cases. But let's have a look at this. So you're trying to dispose of a controller, but you may not have got it from the context yet. So that's a no-no, right? Let's see. I guess as long as
you shouldn't be disposing of back up. You shouldn't be disposing of controller anyway, right?
Yeah, that's actually the other side of this, right? You didn't create the controller, so you don't want to dispose of it. That's probably where this error is coming from, right? Because it's trying to outside's trying to do it. But let's just try it. Let's just see what's happening here, right? Let's test it out. So that's one thing. But anyway, down here, custom scroll control. Yeah, use the primary. Yeah, that's not a problem. And then what you're trying to do is say right now you've got side view. So what you're saying here is you've got two widgets, side view and custom scroll view, that both use the same scroll controller. You can't do that, right? Or can you? No, this is just, yeah. So that's kind of it. I'm surprised you haven't actually, it hasn't shown you an error. Unless they've done multi-listing on the primary scroll controller, and I completely missed that. Like it's got a special controller. I didn't think it did. Let's have a look anyway. All right, so we got a custom scroll view slivers. If the reduce the width to find the error. Oh, you want to do this like, is this web? Is this web? Is you want to do here? Side view, red. I mean, so far, I'm not seeing any errors here or anything in the logs or anything problematic. I can try a hot reload. Nope, everything's working fine, apparently. You need to resize the view. So what you're actually doing here is you're switching between these two states, right? So the problem here is that in your side view, you're disposing of the controller that you're using on the outside. This is obvious. This is your problem. It's the fact that you're disposing of a controller that isn't yours. What you need to be doing is not disposing of the controller. You need to unregister your listener. That's all you need to do. Right? And then the same goes for up here, right? If you're gonna listen to it, you need to remove your listener. Yeah. Oops. I don't know why we have a listener here actually saying that, because you're not doing anything with it. So this is pointless, all of this. I'm just going to assume that you're I guess you're doing something with listener on your own code, and this is just the example. But at the moment, the way this sits, none of this is needed on the top level.
Yeah.
You need to resize the. How would resizing the view make any difference? You're getting rid of the side view widget, right? God, well, can I run this in desktop is the question, because I don't know. It's going to compile. Let's find out.
Ah, he says I fixed it without the dispose.
Yeah. Well, that's what's happening, is you're disposing something you didn't create.
So it's only when you own the controller that you created, it's where the controller should be created, is where it should be listened. There you go. So look, there it is, resized. I can scroll it. It works fine. I can bring it back, scroll it, bring it back, scroll it, bring it back, scroll it. It doesn't matter. It's not going to cause any errors, right? Because the dispose is not happening inside of either of the widgets, really, because it's not yours to dispose of, right? So there you go. Hopefully that helped.
I beat Simon to a solution once.
Sorry?
Yeah.
I said I beat you to a solution once.
Oh. Yeah.
Yeah, so I said, yay. All right, I do need to run now.
Yeah, so, all of these things will be shared on Gists in just a minute. And then we do that at the end of the show. We'll post them up on my Gists. If you want a link to my Gist list right now, Gist list, is that the right term? I don't know.
Who knows? Gistus.
I'll see you guys in a week.
All right.
Nice to meet you. Thanks for coming.
And thanks. Bye.
You can find all the other previous code samples and snippets on this very URL. Should probably set one up for Humpday at some point, but in fact, we should probably migrate all these to a proper repository.
Yeah,
and have a proper index and everything.
Yeah, you could do that.
Yeah.
You could have it so that when you push a new piece of code, it automatically adds an entry to a GitHub.
See, there's so many things in my life. I used to be I used to be that person. It's really interesting, right? Let's get off topic here slightly, but it's really interesting. from a perspective of development, from a perspective of development, once you know how to code something and you can make stuff happen, the world opens up to you in a way that isn't there before. I think we're kind of old to remember that bit, but there was something like you make something come up the screen like, wow, I can make anything happen, right? And what happens is then you go into this realm of, oh, I need to do this task, like rename a bunch of files. I'm going to write a bit of code to do that for me, right?
Yep.
And everything becomes automation. Everything becomes code, which is brilliant. I think there's it's that much more harder to find the time to automate your own life, right?
Yes.
And to do things for yourself when you're doing stuff for customers and like you're like everything else, right? So I do think that it's that kind of thing of like a good car mechanic drives around a banged up car because they never repair their own car because they're busy repairing everyone else's cars.
I think
right?
that's also called the shoemaker's children problem.
That's the one as well. Yeah. Right, the shoemaker children always have the worst shoes because like they're busy repairing shoes for everyone else.
I have tons of that. My website is horribly out of date, and I used to make websites for people. So
I know,
it's
right?
like ironic that I haven't gotten there yet.
I'm always wary of a website designer that has a really good website because I'm like, they're spending more time on their own website than their customers' websites.
Right. Well, and the problem is, of course, is that I end up with so many possible different ways of implementing something that I get into analysis paralysis where I go, oh, it could be anyone. Which one's going to be the best? Because I only want to start using that one. And so I know I want my new website to be in Jasper, but I've looked at it from so many different ways. Going, well,
do you know what? I solved this last night. I'm going to tell you this. I found a nice website design. I really like that. So I plugged it into Gemini. I was like, make me a website with a Jasper code base.
Oh no!
With Dart Jasper code base that is about this website. I posted the like exactly mirrors like this website design, and it made me one. I was like,
I tried that with Stonehenge, and it didn't like it very much because there was so many complicated, stupid things in the code there, and it also my entire website's built from Perl template toolkit. So I should be able to throw the source code at Gemini and say convert this Perl template toolkit mishmash into mishmash between Jasper and Dart. Hard to tell. We got a couple questions. We can go ahead and
crack on.
Let's move on. Yeah.
Any code examples anyone wants, or doing something that's interesting?
Let's see here. Oh, this is a fun one. This might be a code thing one. How do you implement a feed scroll that would retain the current scroll offset after inserting new items at the beginning of the list?
Okay, so we spoke about this before, right?
Yeah.
It was a while ago, and I spoke about how this is one of those magical things in software that you don't really think of.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a really great target, and funny enough, we've got like a good space here to work. So let's let's do it, right? Let's do it.
Yep.
So we're just going to use this as a something. That's the way. No, why copy that? You really need stateful. Oh, I'm doing a homepage. Yeah, don't need any of that. Yeah. No.
No. Yes. No.
No, none of that.
No.
All right. Let's start fresh. All right. So we'll just start completely from fresh here, and then we'll run it on mobile. Yes, we're going to run it on mobile.
Get rid of the question.
It's going to run the wrong example because I wasn't paying attention.
The reason taking up screen with valuables.
Yeah.
There we go.
So the in fact, you know what I can do just for everyone.
Get rid of us.
Probably be doing this anyway, but we'll do this anyway. If I can do it. Whoops.
Oh, look, that's the question.
It's the question that drives us.
It's the question from the future.
What was that? What was that film? It's Matrix. Matrix.
Ah, okay.
The question that drives you. What is the Matrix? Right. All right. So
it's some blue pill somewhere.
I know, right?
That's right.
I think it's people. So I think people outside that look at code like Flutter code like this that we write, I think they think we like the Matrix, like.
Yeah.
It's interesting, isn't it? Because I think maybe it's the same as like people that see a foreign, like you see a foreign language, right? Like you see like Cyrillic written down, you're like, there's no way I can ever understand that, you know? I think like that's your first thought when you look at it, right? But obviously people do. It's not like it's.
I get that way when I'm looking at really intense JavaScript. It just there's so many weird freaking layers and
yeah, it's because of all the what was it? Truthiness to things and falsiness.
Oh, the truthiness is just one tiny aspect of it. Actually, I'm used to that from Perl, so that's not a big deal.
Right. Let's before we get off track here. Let's make sure
we're not off track. We're like this all the time.
Yeah, I know. Right. So we want an app bar, and in that app bar, we're going to have a title and call it what are we calling this? Scroll feed, news feed, news scroll, news feed. Let's call it news feed. News feed, and we're going to have an action. Which is going to be I get to show people a widget that I don't often use. Hey, how about this one? How long have you seen this widget? Have you ever seen it? That's you, Randall.
Oh, sorry. What?
You missed it. Hang on. I'll put it back in a second. Have you ever seen animated icon?
I've seen it a couple times. I haven't used it personally, but I've seen it.
We're gonna I'm just doing this as I'm completely like not needed, but I want to do it. It's my show. I can do what I want, right?
Yeah.
I haven't used this in a long time. I don't know if there's actually an implicitly animated version of it. Actually, now I say that. Should probably check before I go down this route.
You should really start using Flutter Animate more often, because then you can make anything inherently animatable.
Animatable.
There you go. Animable sounds good too, though.
Right. On play pause.
Animal. That's it. Just animal.
Function.
How to make animal code.
This will do for the moment, and then we want to have that in here.
I had some code that I've been using in personal production for a long time that used Flutter Animate just to get background colors to change on a rotating basis. And the other day I had Gemini rewrite that to just be straight up animation controller stuff. And it was like only like one line longer. It was like, I went to all this work to get Flutter Animate to do that for me. So yes, there are definitely some times when having a cool extra package isn't necessary.
Right, and actually, that won't work because we need to do it with single, take a provider state mixin. And then finally, I guess we'll have a duration. And then
And while you're doing that, I can share a little bit of my AI experience. I created a notebook LM with all of the Dart docs that it could discover, including the API docs for Flutter, the API docs for Dart, Dart.dev, Flutter.dev, everything, all the code labs, and all that stuff. And I could ask it questions and have it generate podcasts with a particular focus even on all that information. And it's really remarkably smart. It's Notebook LM is just really being an amazing research tool. Starting to use it for a lot of things. I think that's free for basic developers. Like you get maybe like 5 notebooks or something for free, which is still pretty impressive.
All right, so let's put that in there. And on-play polls, poll value. This is completely off topic here, but I just wanted to add it in there. Let's see. And then body placeholder in for the time in, and then up here we'll do use false. And what else do I want to add to my theme data? Is there like a oh wait, you can do like a theme. Hang on. Isn't it like theme from color scheme or something, isn't it? From there we go. From
seed color
scheme. Oh. Color scheme. Dark. And then we can say like primary.
I think once you start choosing colors for primary, you're kind of screwed. It needs to be like from seed or something.
Yeah, but that's what I was just looking for, like the seed, like from seed. That's what I was looking for. Sequence.
Aha! Yeah.
There we go.
That's right, because that then makes the whole spectrum as opposed to just starting to name primary and secondary and stuff. It means you got to spell out 42 colors.
I want vibrant.
Ooh.
Would it make any difference? Oh, there you go. Right. We got ourselves a little news style app, and with a play button that doesn't work.
Oh no.
Yeah, that was my fault. I literally should have started my controller. Come on, guys, you should notice this. Oops.
Flag on the play.
There you go. Goes to pause, animates back to play. So there's actually like a little animation that's taking place there. Let me make this slower. Let's do 2 seconds because it's not too long. And then I'll make it bigger just so everyone can see that animation. Look at that.
Wow.
That little... There you go.
How did it do it? It's like magic bits.
So yeah, so that can actually be the... It's really... I mean, it's been around a while. There's actually a the website used to use on Android, like Animated Icon Studio or something like that, where you can do it. But basically, what these define are the basically path points that for each frame. So the point here is that everything has to match. There's the same number of points, and all you're doing is linear interpolation between the points.
Yeah,
it's nice and simple. Anyone could have done it. It's not. There's nothing magical about it. It's boring, in fact. Right. Okay. So we've got a little play button that just so we can start and stop our stream, right? And
we could probably even have Gemini create one of those for arbitrary shapes for us.
Yeah. And then inside our app. We want some sort of feed repo. I don't know. What time is it? We got time. Okay. And in here we can have a list of that's not how you do that. Articles or something. I don't know. Posts. Let's put posts. Posts. We have an add post. And then we'll make this a change notifier. And then we'll say string post, post, add post, notify listeners, and then list string posts. Right, so that kind of gives us just like a little state that we can like have within our app.
Okay.
Our final feed repository, and then we could extend this with a timer, auto post. I want to say start auto post equals timer periodic every 3 seconds. 3 seconds. And we'll keep auto post cycle. Right. So this will be each time it runs, we want it to, we'll have a count in here. So we'll say auto post cycle plus plus, and then count add post.
You should use Gemini to generate little posts.
Nah. Post count.
What's the point of having all this technology if we're not going to use it?
It doesn't take me that long. It would take me longer to wait for Gemini. Even if it was instantaneous, it'd take me longer than to type it, right?
So, I get it. I get it.
And then stop will cancel our timer. And we'll call stop before start just to ensure that our timer is cancelled before we try and use it again. We could also set this to null just as a really happy. You can cancel an existing cancelable timer and it won't do anything, but it's nice to tidy up after yourself. So there's a little like thing. So now we have a feed. If value, then start, else stop or something. I can't remember which way around the thing is, so we'll find out in a minute. Should probably print. Right, so we're debugging. Right, play. True. So our timer started. False. Our timer will stop. Cool. And now we have our body. Let's have it be a list view right now. That's a list view builder. We're going to wrap our list view builder in a listenable builder. So listenable is going to be the feed, and the builder function is going to return our list view. List view builder is going to have a item count of the value of the feed.posts.length. Now we don't keep creating views, so we'll just sidetrack this by going post equals this. Now, if you valuable, actually, if we do value listenable builder, you know what, I'll just do this. It's fine. I don't want to detract from things even more. Right. And then when we build an item, we're going to build a list tile. And the title of that list tile is going to be the post information. So post and the post posts. That's right. All right. So there's some interesting problems that we've already posed in here. There's actually bugs in the code in front of you. Can anyone spot the bug? We do like we need a TikTok sound. Okay. What's that?
Yeah, because it's 30 seconds long. Exactly.
All right. So what we're missing here is if you have any two adjacent widgets, they need to have keys. If we didn't do this, then what will happen is once we add a new item in the posts, it will push down, right? So it will rebuild all the widgets instead of just rebuild the ones that have changed. So what we need is a key in here. And by default, a normal key is a value key on a string, and we'll just use that on the post because it's unique enough for the post. Obviously, you have like an ID or something like that, and then you use that, right? But
yeah.
Right, hit play. I think we're going to need a faster period. And also, annoyingly, I think we should add a post at the beginning and increase the count.
That'd be handy.
Right, pause. Right. Right, play. Oh, what bug did I introduce? Did I get rid of account plus somewhere? I may have done. I wasn't paying attention. Let's try that again. So play 1. I'm all over wrong with this thing right now. Right, let's try this again. Yeah, 2, 3, pause it, start again, 2, 2. So basically, each time I press play pause, we're going to increment the first number, and each automated post we increase the second number, right? So we could leave it going. Now, the point of the original questioner was what happens when we're in a feed like this, the data's changing in, and we've got new data coming in, and we want to scroll down, but new data is coming at the top. So what we're going to do is we're going to simulate that. So instead of add post adding, we're going to insert at position 0, right? So we're going to restart. So now it's pushing the content down, always and consistently. Now, what we're going to do, we're going to actually, John, we're going to do, I'm going to stop that just to make our lives quicker and simpler for testing. When this starts up, we're going to have it do a for loop. Or actually, no, what we could do was it? What's that generator? List.generate.
Yeah.
We do like 30. I don't know. There's I swear there's like a like an iterator generator, so you can like iterate a certain number of times.
Yeah. It's on
stream dot. Damn, that's really gonna bug me now.
Is it? You mean you want to generate a bunch of futures?
No, yeah, no, I swear there was like damn. Anyway, I was just gonna do a for loop. I'm just being lazy. Anyway,
I'm getting old, but what's your excuse? I mean, what's
right? So we'll do 50 posts in the first iteration of this. So that would be 0. So we'll just do this and call add post. In fact, what we'll do is we're going to change add post to take count, and then we can then do this, which means it's slightly no, I want to add something that I want. Yeah, no, see, this generates a list. I'm wondering if there's a way of actually not generating a list, but just the events to iterate over, right? I swear there's something. Anyway, it's probably in like collection class or something. Anyway, so we'll say add post, and then this would be count. In fact, it'd be count plus class, because that should be 0 and then increase to 1. And then what we're going to do is, so it'd be 0, 0 the first time round. And then we're going to increment after the fact. Does that make sense? I think that makes sense. We're going to iterate here. No, we have to iterate before.
Iterable generate.
Right. All right. Right. Count. Right. Let's see what happens when I run this. It can only go wrong. So the first one should be 0, 0. Which it is itself for the bottom screen, right? 0, 0 up to the top to 49, because we did 0 to less than 50. Hit play. 1, 0. Perfect. Okay. So the point here is if I scroll down, I don't want this to move underneath me, right?
Right.
That's the point, right? Like when I'm scrolled down, I want the content to stay still. And when I scroll back up, I want it to be there, right?
Yeah.
So
That's
there is,
tricky, huh?
yeah. So there is a couple of interesting things you can do. So on a list itself, you can build it in reverse, right?
Yeah.
So what's going to happen in this situation is it's going to stack from the opposite direction. Load up. I don't know why I quit. I didn't need to quit anyway. So now when I scroll down, nothing's moving, but the content's being added to the end, right? I'll hit play. Yeah. It says, there you go. It's been added to the top. But it's still stacking. Hang a minute, wait, what? Oh, because I should be doing add. I have that right. I have no idea if I've got it right anymore. I'm going to use this anyway. But that's yeah. So this is staying still, but content's being added to the bottom. Why is did I do reverse false or reverse? Oh, reverse true. Oh. I was going to say I didn't expect it to do it that way. Right. So I've restarted 0.49, and now content is being added to the top. So like if I scroll to here, it's not scrolling. See this? It's not scrolling, but we are playing. I can keep going up, and there's more content. Right? This is because my scroll position is now from the bottom of the list going up, right? So it doesn't matter that I'm adding more items. It's not 0 offset from the top. It's 0 offset from the bottom of the list. So this is a trick more than anything else, but it works, right? Like
yeah,
this works, and it's simple, right? All I've done is actually just done reverse true, and when I insert the data into the list, I'm appending it to the list, right? Now, this obviously means that the data here is appearing in reverse order at the moment. It doesn't need to be, like, depends on how you insert it into the list, right? But it does mean that, yeah, you can't just insert at some point, insert something between something you see on the screen and expect it not to scroll, right? Like, that's actually where we want to be, right? So there's a trick to this. And we got a few minutes. Okay. So when you scroll it, let's think of a good example of this. When you scroll a grid around, you can, okay, hang on, let's think of it. Try to think of a good example of how I can explain this. So if you want to scroll an infinite surface around, right? When it comes to the programming side of things, infinite is not a thing, right? Like, at some point you will reach a limit, right? So be it the bit depth of what computers can calculate. Yes, you've got arbitrary precision, ignore that for a second. But the point here is you're going to reach a limit, like the finest sort of floating point number you can get, whatever it is. But the way you can work this is it's almost the way that actual computers operate in terms of I'm trying to think of a good example of this. It's like chaining, right? So once you get one number, let's say you've got a limit of 10, right? Whatever that limit is, 0 to 10. Once 10 is reached, you increment another number by 1. Now, if you decrement, you remove that number by 1 and go back down to 9. So what you can do is you can essentially keep 2 numbers in sequence. The nice thing about doing this trick is that, let me get to the point, is that if you've got a list like we've got on the screen, or what we have on the screen, is that what you actually care about is the pixel offset of the current item in the center of the viewport, right? That's the offset of scroll of the height of that view. That's it. That's all you care about. Because when you scroll to the next tile, now you have the index of that tile and then the pixel offset of that. So what your scroll is actually keeping is which item in the list, not necessarily its index, but which item by its ID in the list is the one that is in the center of the viewport, and then what is the pixel offset that's scrolled to by that. In doing this kind of calculation, what it means is that it doesn't matter if you add more on top or add more on the bottom, because your offset is not from the top or from the bottom of the viewport. It's from the item that's currently in the middle of the viewport. Does that make sense to everyone? It's a difficult one to get your head around. I've got a few more minutes. This is where I wanted to get to, and sadly it took us a bit while to get to that point. What we're trying to do here is keep track of a scroll offset and actually handle scroll ourselves. Strictly speaking, this is not something that is what's the best way of putting this? It's not strictly something that the framework is designed to do. It doesn't mean you can't do it though, right? Because all you're doing is you're placing widgets down on the screen at a position. But it doesn't mean you can't take advantage of maybe some of the more built-in features that you get from the scrolling stuff that's built in. So the current built-in system has a requirement of a positive and a negative value. So let me show you here. Scroll controller. Single scroll context. Where is that? Of course. Single position with single context. That's the one. So a scroll controller is controlling the position of a scrollable. Scrollable is your widget that actually reacts to that. So if I can find the bit of code that does this, when you actually look at it, it's all quite straightforward. It seems more complicated than it actually is on first glance.
It does.
If I can find it. Scrollable scope. Yes, this is the state. Here's this. Here's scrollable state. Here we are. And update position. This is where it actually updates the scrolling position based on the scroll physics and everything, right? Create scroll position, which gets the position of the current scroll based on the scroll controller. And then when it comes to the actual widget itself, if I scroll down to the build function, eventually, remember, this is all trying to deal with like lots of different like use cases, right? Which your app may not need to deal with, but here we are. So all we actually have here is a scrollable scope with a listener.
Question from the chat there. Can you simply counter scroll if a new element is added, scroll back the other way?
Well, the problem here, Philip, is you fall into the premise that everyone does. Like you're going to lay out those widgets and actually see them, even though they're not on the screen. You don't want to do that, right? Now you can, don't get me, do some weird and funky things, but then you're just making yourself problems, right?
I think to summarize this, it's because the only knob we have on a scroll controller is pixels, but we really want items, but there's not a direct mapping from items to pixels without laying out all the items. Does that sum it up fairly?
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
Okay.
So I'm trying to find the bit. This is what I care about. So min scroll extent, max scroll extent, and pixels. And then you have your viewport dimension. These are the parameters of scroll. That is it. This is literally that's what scroll metrics holds. That is the whole thing. So what we're saying here is what is the minimum value you can scroll to? What is the maximum value you can scroll to? And yeah, as it says, it can be infinite and unbounded, which is what I've done before. But then you still have pixels, right? Which is still zero offset, and then you've got your viewport dimension as well. So I'm going to see if we can like take advantage of this and use the pixels position as a center point, and then we have another value which indicates what item is in the center. And this is the trick. Oh, I want more time. How does it? Is everyone? Is people on the stream interested in this topic? I feel like it's one that's come up a couple of times. We haven't answered it. I want some affirmatives in the chat, some yeses, some Ys, or something. Because I think I'd rather not try and cram something in that's just half done now. What we could do is do another hour session and actually show off how to do this properly. I feel like it's going to need a reasonable amount of time. I'm not going to get it done in 10 minutes. And I've got the other stream starting in a minute in then. So I wanted to do it now, but don't have the time.
Nope.
I could probably come back to this afterwards if people are interested. I don't know what the chaps on the other streamer are up to either. So maybe this is a topic of conversation we can have there.
Or we could do next week, because I have another meeting after your meeting, so I don't think I'd be back.
Yeah. All right. Well, look, let's plan for. We've got 18 minutes till the show goes live.
Yeah, we got a couple more questions to be able to answer real quick.
Let's get. Have you got any more questions? Yeah.
So we've got the feed scroll. There's this one. Do you have any tool to measure Flutter web performance? I joined a project where I'm tasked with investigating why the app is using so much memory. It's trying to remember.
So the answer to web performance is use your browser's inspector. It tells you everything you need to know. There you go. It's built in. I don't know. Like there's generally anything about Flutter, right? To get your performance around memory and its usage and everything else.
You can take a minute.
You can use Dart Dev Tools, as well.
What does that look like? I mean, maybe you could demonstrate it.
I guess I could.
You got a couple minutes. Let's do this and then close the show.
it means running web stuff, and I don't know if this is going to work, but we'll try.
Okay.
Your local version of service worker variable is deprecated.
Oh no. You got
Please
deprecated service worker syndrome.
I know, but we're going to try it. Apparently, it loaded.
Yes.
And then I wonder if if the web tools will load. Logging. Performance. Chrome Web Tools before performance profiling. Timeline tasks, yeah. Debug profile builds enabled. Adds timeline events to widget build. So basically what it's saying here is you should open up the performance tab in here in the inspector. And this is where you're going to get your performance, which tells you there, like, interaction to next paint, cumulative, events, and whatever else you need to do. And you'll find lots of stuff because at the moment, this is the difference, right? You're performance checking a website. It's the same as like if you're doing an app, you're performance checking Windows app. You're not really the output of Flutter is what you're actually checking at this point. And you can do this. You can record heap, do your snapshot, do whatever actions you're doing, and then there you go. Now you get to see in here how much memory is being used up by the various bits in your project, and you can see what's been retained in memory, what's the shadow size, filter on various things. Yeah, I mean, I feel like I want to give a better answer, but like it's exactly what it is. You can also run a profile build, and that's what it's saying in here. You should run a profile build, and then what you can also do is put your own timeline events in and see those on the, I'm guessing, on one of the performance timelines. I don't record. Profiling. We are profiling. We're going to scroll and scroll and hit play, scroll some more and scroll some more, and then hit stop. And it's going to process that profile, and there you go. So what we're going to see here is the full timeline. This is what's it called, a candle chart or something. And there you go. You can zoom in and you can see what each frame of graphics was like, and then what the events that were run for each frame of graphics, what functions were run, like the scrolling, the point to scroll events here. And yeah, and then also you get to see these are the sort of timings for like each frame, the layout, build, and paint. There is actually I think see each frame being drawn. There is actually if, as it said in the example in here, if you add the timeline task, they're a bit small on that thing, but basically if you do a profile build or enable it with these globals, then you will actually see in this timeline in here extra events and extra tracks. So yeah, it allows you to do quite a lot. Okay, what was the next question?
That was it.
Is that it?
Yeah, that because the other one is about the getting the scrolling working. So we're done.
Are you paginating? How big is your data?
This big. It fills the whole screen.
Well, we're generating the data, so yes, there is pagination. Oh, is this someone answering someone else's question? Sorry, did I miss?
Yeah, we're talking. Well, this was sort of the how do you solve this? This is this performance problem, but how come there's a performance problem? That's what Philip was asking.
Well, yes, I will link to the next. So in 12 minutes, there's another live stream. I'll be on
both the Meetup and the YouTube link in the chat. So
okay, I've also put the YouTube.
So we could address scrolling first thing next week.
Yeah, I'm going to see if I can do it before then, though. So let's just see what happens, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then there's the meetup, as you said, the meetup link you've posted in the chat as well.
Yep.
So that's the one to this event that's coming up, and there's the YouTube link as well as the in the chat. Right.
All right.
Pardon me. Right. I'm going to have a few minutes, and then I'm going to jump on the other stream. Thank you everyone for joining us. We will definitely get to this question about scrolling. In fact, let me make a note of it before we end the show, because I will forget. Where is that? Where's the question? Oh no.
I'd try unstart it. Turn it. I didn't think you'd want to refer to it again.
I'll make sure we can. Oh no, it's at the top of this. It's the top of this thing, isn't it? No.
Sorry.
No, I copied. It's fine. I got it.
Okay, good.
Yeah. Cosmin. I can't even say names. I'm so sorry. Cosmin Mihan Bodoric. I just mullered your name. I'm really sorry. Right. Thank you for your question, and we will get to it. I promise. So it's one that people are really interested in. So I think it's worth doing. Right. Thanks to everyone for joining us, and we'll see you same time, same place next week, or maybe sooner in a few minutes. We'll see.
Yes.
Bye.
Bye.